Yep, Titanic The Legend Goes On was released 1 year after the first one. For some reason, Italian filmmakers really wanted these movies to be made. This one was entirely Italian-made, produced and animated in Rome, if I'm reading the credits correctly. But here's the weird thing about this one. Well, I mean, amongst all the other weird things about it. There are two versions of this movie. Yeah, the version the Nostalgia Critic reviewed was actually slightly cut and had a few scenes rearranged. For example, the uncut version isn't told through flashback. To be brief about the differences, the uncut version has more transitions from shot to shot, making it a bit more coherent from an editing perspective. However, the cut version removed a lot of the pointless extra moments that plague the uncut version. But they also rearranged some parts, and by cutting out a few moments, scenes don't flow as well from one to another. And the last difference is that both movies have completely different music, but we'll get to that in a bit. The first problem this movie has is that they play the main theme song backwards over the opening credits. If you're lucky, you may hear a satanic message that's more entertaining than this movie.
Your mother sucks cocks in hell, Paris.
We see that a girl named Angelica is looking for her parents, while under the supervision of stolen Cinderella characters. We cut to a seagull shoving its ass in our faces, a fitting metaphor for this movie, as it sails to the launch of the Titanic, where more plagiarism is at hand. In fact, I'm just gonna point out all the rip-off characters right here. The Step family from Cinderella, Cruella de Vil, Horace, Jasper, Pongo, and Perdita from 101 Dalmatians, the geese from the Aristocats, the Mouse family from An American Tail, Speedy Gonzales, Azrael from the Smurfs, Jeremy from The Secret of Nim, the French chef from Little Mermaid, Sherlock Holmes, Lady from Lady and the Tramp, even though it's voiced by a man, Granny from the Sylvester and Tweety cartoons, and a Frenchman named Gaston, who, admittedly, doesn't really act too much like Disney's Gaston, but since I hate this movie, I'm counting it against them anyways. This is beginning to sound like bad fanfiction. That's exactly what these movies are! Bad fanfiction! The cat knocks away Angelica's locket with her mother's picture inside, and Gaston finds it for himself. It becomes one of about a dozen subplots later. The rest of the passengers, both human and otherwise, finish boarding.
What's with the costumes, guys? We've been on tour, senor. And cannot wait to get home, muchachos?
Estoy decent bola, Chile.
Mind if I join you?
Wow. A lot of Hispanic cultures really get poorly treated in these movies. The Brazilians, the Spanish, the Mexicans. You should all go attack Italy. I think they deserve it. Hey, you want to know something funny? Remember how a studio from Spain helped produce the first movie? Well, they must have been so proud with the result that they gave the cut version of this movie a Spanish dub. Let's listen a bit.
Deja de suspirar sobre esa fotografía. Nunca encontrarás a tu querida madre.
¡Nunca encontrarás a tu querida madre!
Oh! Let's see how well they did the rapping dog.
Oye, hay algo que deberías saber, así que te lo diré. Tranquilo, olvídalo, disfruta del espectáculo.
Working all day, now it's time to unwind. Kick back, relax, take a load.
You didn't dub the songs? You didn't dub the rapping dog?
Oh, look at this hole in my favorite dress. I wanted to wear it. Oh, it's got bigger and bigger.
Come in. You rang, Mum?
Wow, I bet that guy got made fun of a lot in clown school for having such an unfunny voice.
Pick up those bits of broken china at once. Then mend and iron our clothes
so we can attend the reception to welcome us aboard. In any case, you can't come. You've nothing to wear. No one's going to lend you anything.
Is there an echo in here?
Down below, a dog named Fritz saves the mice family from the stepmother's cat.
If it hadn't been for you, I would be now in someone else's digestion.
Oh boy, let's see what the original rap song is.
Tell me, do you know? Do you really know? Do you know it, yes or no? Is it yes or is it no? Do you know who I really am? I'm the boss, and I command, I direct the band. Better stop it if you're breathing. Fritz is here, it's time for freezing, cause instead of being a hero, you know, you might become a zero. It's no confusion, no illusion. Out on the sea, so amusing. A special trip, so we best get started. Hardy, party, party, hardy.
I can hardly make out what he's saying.
Bring the goodies, mini cakes and mini cookies, tasty steaks and hot salamis, juicy cheese for the capital C.
Bring back party time.
Yeah.
Oh, and isn't it fantastic that they tell us what type of music we're listening to in the background? Yeah, my ears work just fine, thank you, but believe me, right now, I wish they didn't. Back in Cruella de Vil's room...
Trying to teach you how to work properly. One needs to be gentle, agile. Elephants!
Elephants? Elegance? Same thing.
Brains between you to fill a sparrow's skull. Hopeless idiots. Dumbbells, I despair.
Yeah, a big problem with the English dub is that so many lines of dialogue are so bizarrely written, and they don't sound like anything real people actually say.
Understand?
You understand?
Before they attempt to rob all the other passengers, they have to go get her dog, who is... drunk. Or something, as we find out that another passenger is also a thief who uses her dog to trip people so she can steal their valuables. They just barely miss being able to trip Gaston as he, like Frenchmen are wont to do, tries to hit on the woman with the biggest flotation devices on board. Fritz the dog starts making friends with all the other dogs on board.
I'd like your help with the food and drinks for the party.
I'm at your disposal, old friend. I'm afraid Kate here is out of the picture, though. She's about to present me with some airs.
And they'll get their own crappy animated sequel, too. Actually, this is a good time to mention, Fritz's English-speaking voice is none other than Gregory Snagoff, the voice of Maltravers from the first movie. I can't imagine why he'd want to do another Titanic cartoon. Maybe he just hated the James Cameron movie. On board, a young man with no personality and a nanny who's missing a daughter runs into Angelica while she's carrying her stepsister's clothes.
It seems fate is determined to throw us together, doesn't it?
How? This is your first time meeting each other! Oh, but it's a shame that you don't look like Leonardo DiCaprio. You do on the box art, but not in the actual movie. So sorry, I'll be going now. Fritz the dog is organizing a party with the animals and tells them to look out for Angelica's locket because she showed kindness to the mouse child. Meanwhile, William tries to find Angelica.
Come in. Can I help you?
That is, have you another daughter?
Not to my knowledge.
In that case, I seem to have made a mistake.
Oh.
Excuse me.
It isn't every day one has the pleasure of meeting a young man of such obvious breeding and good looks. Have tea with us. Stay a while. Good looks.
Yeah, another problem with the English dub is that they recycle lines of dialogue whenever they run out of things to say.
You know, Victoria, I thought he was a bit bold, examining a dress to see if it was my size.
We're in the 20th century, dear. Young men are less timid with young ladies than they were in my day.
Ooh, I doubt that so hard. William and the old lady have a talk using repeated animation loops. No, seriously, they repeat the same footage like 3 times here, while Gaston tries to hit on the singer with the giant fun bags.
I'm always a perfect lady, and I've nothing to be ashamed of.
He gives her Angelica's necklace, whilst the Italians remind us of their never-ending appreciation of deep cleavage.
Thank you. Always a perfect lady and nothing to be ashamed of.
Again with the same friggin' piece of dialogue.
Does our first officer have a problem?
Ha! Look at this guy! He looks like he's from an Egoraptor cartoon!
Wait, what? Huh? What are you saying? I got a double chin thing?
No, you got like
I don't have a fucking double chin thing, you piece of shit! I'll kill you!
I'm sorry!
William meets Angelica again and tries to hit it off with her.
I'm dead serious. The most wonderful thing about this trip to America is meeting you.
I don't know whether to believe you or not. Please don't be cruel. Don't hurt me. I've had so much disappointment, and I've always managed to see the positive side.
That's a serious thing to be told, William. How are you going to respond to this kind girl who's had to deal with so much stress in her life?
I don't even know your name.
Angelica wisely leaves him for the time being, while we get a pointless comedy relief scene of a mouse trying to steal food from the angry chef. Then another pointless scene with the mice failing to get the locket. Also, is it just me, or does the music sound like Super Nintendo Final Fantasy music? Except shitty. The Sherlock Holmes knockoff tries to go looking for the thieves.
Where do you think you're going? This isn't third class.
Shh, keep your voice down. Detective Bradbury, New York Police Department. Sam to my friends a threat. Never mind.
What the hell was that? Do New York detectives have psychic powers now? If they did, how did they not stop a bunch of mice from taking over their apartments in the first movie?
What's the matter, Captain? Something wrong?
The Baltic has sighted icebergs in the area. Says to keep a lookout. But there's no reason to be unduly alarmed.
Famous last words, I take it? The Dalmatians hear something and try to move the drawer out of the way.
Out of the picture, you're about to present me with some heirs.
Pongo's a dick! He honestly couldn't have found a nicer way of saying, honey, please, don't stress yourself. You're pregnant. Instead it's, out of the way, woman. The only thing you're good for is bearing my children. Get back in the kitchen. The mice and crow recover the locket, while the old lady gives Angelica a dress to wear for the upcoming ball.
You have to give it back to its rightful owner.
Owner schmona.
How is it gonna prove she's her mother's daughter when she finds her?
That's her problem. It's mine now, and I'm not giving it to anyone.
No more nonsense. It's hers. Put it around her neck.
I never thought I'd see the day when I'd have to give back something that's mine.
No honor amongst plagiarisms, I take it. But anyway, Angelica gets her locket back and joins the ball. She looks so beautiful it makes Gaston pass right through the table. Oh, and the song sucks ass too. Angelica starts to take a real liking to William, and the animals begin their party down below. Ah, great, here comes a stereotypical Mexican song.
Oigan, vengan aquí, así es en mi país.
Spanish? Actual Spanish? Actually, the song itself isn't that bad. In fact, it's actually kind of good. But the thing that keeps it from being any better is the fact that the movie keeps cutting to exterior shots of the Titanic as it's about to hit the iceberg. Why is this bad? Well, take a look at the lyrics.
En una noche así, nada puede pasar. Todo será ideal porque esta noche no se olvidará.
It's cheap, manipulative juxtaposition of music and scenery, and it's painful to watch. As if it were some sort of merciful angel, the iceberg arrives to stop this nonsense.
What's that noise? Is there something wrong with one of the screws?
No, sir. We hit an iceberg.
As the panic starts to set in, the third-class passengers develop super strength and break through the metal bars keeping them down below. And do you remember how they repeat animation and dialogue throughout the movie? Well, take a look at this.
You can't go through this way. Don't force me to resort to violence. You can't go through this way. Don't force me to resort to violence. Don't force me to resort to violence. You can't go through this way.
You smell that budget? Smells tiny, doesn't it? I swear I didn't repeat that piece of animation. That's what actually happens. If the rest of the movie wasn't evidence enough for you, this should let you know what a cheap, incompetent piece of crap it is. So while the lifeboats are being filled to prevent the loss of life during a terrible accident, that doesn't mean we don't have time for some comedy. At least when Titanic did stuff like this, it's because it's supposed to be a parody.
Oh my gosh. Look at that. The entire ship is angling even more. Even more. And more. Oh, it's crushing the people who left after what they thought was safety. Oh, the rest of the ship is sinking into the ocean depths. Oh, if you were ever going to recreate this on film, it would cost so much money.
The woman who tried to use her dog to steal from people comes to terms with how she feels about one of her victims.
Women and children!
I'll get in the next one.
Don't sacrifice yourself for me. Winnie, I'm a failure, Winnie. I have no future to offer you, if there's going to be a future. I was going over to find someone to bail me out of bankruptcy.
I'm no better off than you are, darling. Truth is, I trapped you. And now that I've even lost Flopsy, you're it.
Yeah. The movie makes it seem like they drown. Kind of a dick move.
Let the sun right about you.
And you can stop singing now. You are the one with the biggest boobs on board. Something tells me someone would like to see you live. The rest of the boat sinking plays out in a bunch of slow, poorly choreographed sequences, including a complete replay of the scene when the mouse tried to steal food. You know, in case you forgot what the whole thing looked like.
Victoria, where's William? Do you think he's safe?
I'm sure he is. Don't worry. Everything will turn out fine. You'll see.
Nothing in this movie is okay. They find the detective wearing a black mustache and an orange wig. How the hell did no one find out about him? Angelica finds out that William's nanny was her mother all along. Big shock. William eventually finds their boat, and they all live happily ever after. Guys, maybe you shouldn't stand up in the middle of a lifeboat? No? Whatever, the movie's fading to black.
Wait a minute, where are you going? The movie isn't over yet. Don't you want to know what happened to everybody? Well, Detective Bradbury finally got Corinthia in the act and had her locked up. Thanks also to Fritz and Flopsy, now detectives junior grade. Poor Gaston, drooling with great expectations, got himself hired by Rhoda Vanderplank, and the heiress put his Gallic charms to the best use possible. As chauffeur, babysitter, cook, butler, gardener, etc., etc. To thank us for saving him, our friend the ship's cook put us up at his new place of work, the kitchen of one of New York's fanciest restaurants. Gertrude Pickering is all broken up, though her tears are not tears of joy, as her ugly nieces Hortense and Bernice marry Kirk and Dirk. And here we have the ecstatic newlyweds Angelica and William, together with Mother Nanny Jenny, Victoria and the grandchildren, and the Dalmatians and their children. Here's hoping they'll all live happily ever after. Bye for now, and see you soon.
Wait a minute! What happened to the singer with the huge tits? I'm serious! The only people that they don't mention getting off the boat are the old couple and the singer. You mean to tell me that out of all the irritating characters you put on that ship, the only one you chose not to save was the singer with the huge rack? You inhuman monsters! I honestly think Titanic The Legend Goes On is worse than the first one. Yes, the first one does have a more insulting reason as to why the Titanic sank, but Legend Goes On is worse in every other aspect. There are numerous subplots going on in the movie that never amount to anything. In the first one, no matter how stupid the story became, it generally kept a decent pace, and most of the scenes actually progressed the plot. Legend Goes On tries to make nearly every other scene into a joke. Every other character is meant to be comedic. The first one at least tried to play most of its bullshit story with a certain degree of seriousness. Legend Goes On also copies more shots from the James Cameron movie than the first one. Lastly, while the issue of the animation being better may seem a bit trivial when it comes to movies this bad, in Legend Goes On, characters do not have good interaction with one another. Sometimes the characters just feel like they're on separate two-dimensional planes rather than occupying the same space. They don't even keep their physics consistent. When you're trying to animate pratfalls, the timing and weight of the characters are the most important things to keep track of, and they clearly did not do that. It makes the animation very, very uninteresting to watch, amongst all the other frequent animation glitches and confusing audio recycling in the English dub. So, despite the fact that The Legend of the Titanic has a more asinine, idiotic, insulting plot, I actually find it to be a bit easier to sit through because it otherwise shows superior filmmaking. And that may be why it got a sequel. Tune in for part 2 where we take a look at Tentacolino and see just how far my sanity can go.